This is my Holga. There are many cameras like it, but this one is mine. My Holga is my companion. It is my creative spark. I must master it as I master my vision. Without me, my Holga is just plastic. Without my Holga, my art is just an idea. I must wield it with intention. I must see deeper than others who disparage it as junk. My Holga is imperfect as I am imperfect, and that is why it is mine. Thus I will embrace its quirks. I will know its vignettes, its light leaks, its soft focus, and its unpredictable charm. I will cherish its flaws, even as I cherish my own. My Holga and I are partners in creativity. We are explorers of wonder. We are the makers of magic and multiple exposures. So be it, until the last frame is exposed and the world is seen through a dreamy lens. Greetings and welcome to Portraits in Fitness. This is episode 3 in my series called My Favorite Clicks. Today I'd like to talk more conceptually and show some images using examples taken with not just this particular model of camera, but in this family of cameras. And the reason why I love these cameras is that they don't render things the way we see them with our eyes or with more precise instruments. I go back to my first encounters with digital photography and my delight at how clear and real everything looked. Well, that drove me to want to take pictures of everything, but then the newness wore out because so what? I was basically just doing surveillance on my environment rather than putting my own take on it or my spin on it or adding my perspective to it. So not that long after encountering digital photography, I actually got a little bored with it. And although I was working as a sports photographer and photojournalist, I would try to find any kind of new perspective on an event or on an athlete or a situation. And that was part of just experimenting all the time. So if you take a scene and you want to see it literally through a different lens, sometimes that means that you try a lens with a unique perspective or field of view, like a fisheye lens, or maybe an extreme macro lens, a close-up on things that we normally can't see that clearly and that closely with our own eyes. But sometimes it's also a lens with certain characteristics. For instance, this plastic camera with plastic lens. The unique perspective that this offers is a dreamy look. So sometimes when I'm not looking for that literal rendition of reality, I'll pick up one of these cameras and it's just a fun tool to use. And in this video, I just want to go over a few things that I've done over the years with this type of camera. Well, they do come in different flavors. Some of them have glass lenses, so it still has that dreamy fall off of sharpness from the center, but the center is a little bit sharper with that glass lens that has different perspectives. They make them for 120 film, they make them for a 135 film. They make pinholes as well, and just a whole bunch of different models. But this is the original. This is the 120N. It takes 120 film, medium format film, and it has a hot shoe here. So you can attach a flash to it or a trigger, and that makes it actually capable of working with off-camera flash. And another characteristic of these cameras that makes them really fun is that every time you press the shutter button, you're making an exposure. So they make creating multiple exposures, double, triple, multiple exposures, very fun, very simple. And you can just grab it and click all over the place and kind of do something like David Hockney would do, taking a different perspective of a particular object. And that really appeals to me. So I like to bring these cameras on trips sometimes, and I think I'll start with some images from a trip to Joshua Tree in the California desert, and just comparing a really sharp camera and lens with the same format of film to what a Holga looks like. So these photos you're seeing are from Joshua Tree in California, same trip, but both on 120 black and white film. One way that I used the Holga camera, maybe even this very one, I don't remember, was to shoot sports with it. So when I was shooting a lot of triathlon events, I didn't have to shoot every racer that went by, and I could find different ways or look for different ways to get the color of the event and capture that. It has a bulb setting, so as long as you press the shutter, the lens stays open. And if you're using a low sensitivity film, you can get away with overexposing it and holding that shutter button down for a little longer. And so I have tried panning. So analog panning using the bulb setting, following somebody as they go by. So here's a few examples of that from a triathlon in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. And as I mentioned, there's a hot shoe on here. So back when I was shooting weddings and of course trying everything to get a different feel, a different excitement about the images, I would set up lights on light stands all around the dance floor on all four corners, and then also have one on my camera. And I would trigger those lights. So I really like to have backlighting and flare in my photos. But one wedding in particular, I picked up this camera or one like it, and I triggered those flashes around the dance floor. So in addition to that flash, I also was able to make double exposures or multiple exposures, because every time I used this shutter without winding on, I created a double exposure. And so here's some of those images as well. And it just added a different look that I could give the clients, and it was really fun. So again, having this hot shoe available to me, I'm not just able to put a flash on here. I could put a wireless trigger like this one, or there's many other types, and I'm able to have this transmitter communicate with various lights. And this is one of the first photos I ever made using an off-camera flash triggered with a remote trigger on a Holga. You just have to be mindful of the power settings on your lights and meter for that. And basically, you know what you're getting with this camera because it has a fixed aperture, more or less, and a fixed shutter speed. And so I've been known from time to time to take this out and trigger off-camera studio flash as well. There's a lot of videos about these cameras, what they are, the different models, and I didn't really want to get too much into that. Just in summary, it's a plastic camera that's got a lot of imperfections. So I like to carry a Holga with me from time to time, whether I'm on holiday or just walking around, because sometimes you just never know. And I really do enjoy making double exposures of almost anything or multiple exposures. And it's actually resulted in several of my favorite images, such as this one here, that due to the imperfections of the lens and a dreary day combined with film grain, it kind of took out the distractions or the modern elements of this scene. And to me, it takes me back to an earlier time. And so I named it Momentary Past. And I hope you enjoy it. And likewise, I hope you enjoy this video. There's more to come in this series, my favorite clicks. I appreciate watching and commenting. Please like and subscribe. And as always, until the next video, be good to yourself.